This place is full of love. You can tell the people that like to be with old people because they really take care of you good and are very kind.
Twice a day, every day, activities people have an organized activity that's always interesting.
Everybody loves to play bingo. We play it 3 times a week here. We also have ceramics that you can paint. Really pleasant to live here. It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
You gotta keep trying to plug away on that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll help you do it.
So, John Butts came in with, the, Newcastle City Council.
Hi.
John.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Connor, good to meet you.
And Venetius. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
You want to take us off, Randy?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you guys for being here. This is a great turnout,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
it's kind of last minute and, you know. I'm Brandy. I live in Wright. I'm the Northeast Regional Director for the Wyoming Business Council. So I work in Crook, Weston, Campbell, Johnson, and Sheridan counties. The Business Council is the state's economic development agency. We're usually known for grants, or were known for grants at one point for infrastructure development, but we've really kind of taken a step back with all of the cuts at the state level. We're about 35 employees for the entire state, so super small agency, and trying to figure out how we can build capacity at the local level and where we can make investments that'll actually move the needle for communities. And so it's not just about running water lines and sewer lines and roads anymore. It's more about meeting with you guys and trying to figure out what works in your community. So a couple years ago, we had we got some ARPA money and we contracted with the Harvard Growth Lab at the business school. And there's about 50 employees at Harvard Growth Lab that works in countries across the world, helping them grow their economies. And so we just happened to run into this program and we said, have you ever worked in the state? And they said, no, where's Wyoming, basically. And so they were pretty excited and got on board. But the interesting part is they don't go into anything with preconceived notions. They meet with the locals and try to understand the economy and understand the data of what's actually happening in the economy. So when I called the mayor and said, hey, we want to start this rural communities program. We have 7 communities in Wyoming in mind. Would you guys be part of it? But we don't really know what it looks like, was the truth. We haven't really figured it out because we want to learn from you guys first and use that model. So this is our 3rd visit.
Yeah.
And so we're pretty excited to learn more from each and every one of you and try to understand. And then we have 2 advisors from the Harvard Business School that we go back and talk to.
That's not us.
But Vinny graduated from Harvard last spring and has a lot of connections there. So, and Connor just finished up his master's too. So anyway, I'll let them introduce themselves and talk more about the program, but I'm pretty excited that we got him here, guys, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Connor, as you said, yeah, so I'm from Minnesota, where I grew up. I was in the Navy for a few years and got out and did some school, ended up doing school in Chicago. And so we both moved into this role in January here, so we're both moved to Wyoming. I grew up coming to Wyoming for vacations and road trips and stuff, so I know a little bit, but it's been great to be here. We were brought on to do a lot of the data analysis, quantitative stuff, but there's also this element of that's interesting, that's there, the economy is going up and down, but it's really important to be out here and talk to people, learn from people. So it's been a lot of fun to go around the state and talk to people like you and learn what's going on around here and try to understand what your idea of the future of your community is and pair that up with what we see in the data analysis and then build a plan with you guys and move with it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm Vinicius, I'm originally from Brazil, but did my master's degree at Harvard Kennedy School in Public Administration and International Development. And basically our role as Honor says a lot to bring in more data and evidence to think about how to make the economy in Wyoming grow more. And we're excited to bring this project going around different parts of the state and working together with local communities to understand better the context and work together to find ways to promote growth in different parts of the state.
Do you guys want to introduce yourselves again? I know the mayor did, but.
And here, I want to hear what you think is going well in the community here for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Kathy Decker Levasseur. I grew up here. I came here when I was 6 years old, but I left many times. I went to Chicago, Boulder, Colorado, San Jose, and I'm back to Chicago. So I've only lived here a little over a year now. But I also, when I lived here before, I worked for the Chamber of Commerce, and they worked on economic development. And so I'm just kind of still interested in that.
Excellent.
Nice.
And like her family has owned the Deckers grocery
Oh, the
business.
Deckers.
Yeah, that's my brother.
It's like several
But
generations.
it's family,
Three.
I mean, yeah, many generations.
Yeah. Back to 1910,
And it's still going strong.
still going.
That's great.
Brand new store, so. Kim Dean, I'm the Newsletter Journal Managing Editor. As far as, I guess I could speak to the newspaper industry, but when we have businesses close, I mean, a lot of them choose to advertise on Facebook. And of course, the advertising is, you know, what, I don't know, it's what keeps us alive, I guess, as a newspaper. We do have an online newspaper, but we've had several businesses close. We've had a hardware store, they retired and closed, and Wayback Burgers closed, another gas station closed, so so we're invested in this community. I feel like we serve the community as a newspaper, and of course, we want to see it thrive. So I'm glad you're here. It'll be interesting to, you know, see what you know, your observations of our community, but yeah, anything you can do to help us keep our businesses strong.
Was a hardware store there? Was a hardware store there? I can't talk. Hardware store there along with the Ace Hardware, or is that a new hardware store?
They were separate.
They were separate. Okay.
Yeah, because that one sold lumber and,
Oh, I see.
yeah, so,
They were a full lumber yard.
Gotcha.
Oh, the
These were
lumber.
Ace Hardware, yeah.
Their hardware section was,
It was privately owned,
Yeah.
it wasn't like Ace Hardware.
I can just tell you, like, in our, you know, our newspaper office, people really want a fast food hamburger joint. We just would really like to have a
Yeah.
fast food hamburger
That
place.
kind of that, yeah.
I mean, we feel blessed we have Taco John's, but people really would like a hamburger place.
I'm Pam Walteri. I moved here from Chicago in 2008, so it's kind of.
The Chicago crew here. I like
Yeah,
it.
I know, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I should have brought the popcorn. I think I've worn many different hats since I've been here with the chamber, economic development, former mayor, business owner. So I think coming from a bigger area, you come to this area, you see a lot of potential, but you really need to learn who the people are and what the needs are. And, you know, I see, like you said, a lot of businesses open and they close. What are the reasons? So I kind of like to find out from the bottom of the barrel up and then go back down to find out like why things are the way that they are. Being on economic development, we kind of decided, you know, what is already here is what needs to be focused on and utilized before we start branching out. So we have a lot of seeds planted, I think, for when we can bring that growth in, but what we also need to have that growth. So I think working on that is great. So I think getting the insight from you guys would even be better for us because we kind of lost that. When you were doing more of the businesses, like the Project Turtle and some of that other stuff, that was great for us to kind of do a blueprint of our community for those businesses. And I think we need to have a better blueprint of our community, to advertise us for those businesses to come in. Because we don't have a lot, you talk about a hamburger place, we're not a big franchise here. I mean, we have Subway and Taco John's and Pizza Hut, which are franchises, but everything else is more mom and pop. And so I think we have to keep that in consideration, being where we're at, is how do we build our community for mom and pop and not focus so much on franchises, but maybe look at that down the road when we're more suitable and ready for it.
And you can open that hamburger joint.
No. I eat them well.
Yeah, me too.
Mike Starling, I work up at the art camp, been there for about 17 years. Warden Todd Martin couldn't be here today, so he asked me to step in for his absence and see what we can do to assist with the economical growth. We do employ some of the staff up in there. I think we're like the biggest employers around of folks, so that's where we stand right now.
Housing development is one of the issues.
Housing is huge.
Yeah.
A lot of people come here to work there, but then they can't find housing and they leave.
Mr. Mayor, why is it hard to build the houses here? What's holding you back from housing development?
That's a good question, Connor. I think that a lot of the land is purchased up or owned. Like right now, there are some developments that they're trying to put in. One of the things that came up is folks wanted to see some kind of, city sanctioned like housing development, and try to find funding to support an activity like that. Because the Wyoming Refining Company couldn't come today because they're tied up in a public meeting, but they that was one of the concerns that was voiced when I got the call back that they weren't going to be able to make it, was that housing is a concern. So I don't know what's holding us back. It's always money, Connor.
It's always, of course. Yeah.
We always we need more money. Weston County is the second poorest county in the state of Wyoming right now, and it's just sometimes it seems pretty insurmountable, So yeah, Manor owns. The thing that I think we do well is we do have businesses that are thriving, that have been doing well. So that's the one positive thing, is the long-standing businesses are able to continue to do their thing, and so that's the one thing positive.
Yeah. Since we're on the housing topic, real quick.
Let's finish
Dude,
introductions.
Introduction first.
Please.
I'll stop.
I'd like to know the rest of these people,
All right,
because if
all
I
right.
don't stop you, we
I
will
know.
never let it be.
Greg Stump, I'm with the city of Newcastle. As far as the housing, to kind of dovetail off yours, we're landlocked. Water is so hard to get around here that you have to have water in order to have the housing. We never expanded Newcastle enough, and we have water districts surrounding us completely. So we have to actually leapfrog over them to do any development or buy them out. With our rules, that becomes very, very difficult. If we did purchase one of the districts, the roads would have to be improved, we'd have to put in a sewer system and all this.
It's expensive.
So you're talking millions upon millions of dollars.
Yeah.
To further expand, other than a couple small areas, so.
I have questions, but I'll wait.
I'll let you take my place.
No,
My name's Emma Colley. I am on the city council. I'm probably the only true native here. So I was born and raised, lived here all my life. I worked for a pipeline company here in town for 45 years before I retired. The reason I got on the city council was because I'm not too involved with the economic part, because the business part of town. my family hasn't really been in that, but, I just love Newcastle, and it was my choice to stay here and raise our family here, so anything that can be done to help our town, I don't have any suggestions, you know, everybody can come up with ideas, clean up our town, that's my big thing, is let's clean it up, because I think that would bring people here, when they walked in and saw a nice looking area, doing it is a totally different thing, so that's the hardship.
There's a whole lot of people in jails and prisons in Wyoming who really didn't mean to do anything wrong, but they screwed up and they did. But apparently Becky Hadlock and other elected officials in Wyoming are in fact above the law. At least that's what I think the governor showed us with his decision.
And I think he did too. And I think he makes it blatant by avoiding the clear violation of the law. The rest of it, you can, yeah, she got the testing done. It was at the last minute, at the last chance, and she failed it. But she did submit the report on the day, even though it was like 11:59 or whatever. You know, like there's some ways you could finagle the other things, but he blatantly ignores the malicious intent and the felony committed.
And he jumps through so many hoops to let her off.
Stacy Hagerty, I'm the clerk treasurer for the city of Newcastle. I actually grew up over in Custer, South Dakota, so very tourist driven over there. So in the summertime, I just, always think it's like, okay, what could Newcastle do? But there is always the backside of we're out of the hubbub and people can still travel and do your day trips and go support other, like even Wyoming areas and things like that to keep some of those tourist dollars in Wyoming. But I always compare to Custer, South Dakota, which we are totally different. So
It's right over there though.
yeah,
It's right over there, it's about the same population, isn't it?
it is, but it's like I said, there is always the fact of, it's crazy, getting crazy over there in the summertime too, so for people to, for us to try to piggyback off of that and come to your quiet area for your evenings and things, would always be a good thing too.
My name is John Butts. I'm on the city council. I worked for the railroad for 35 years and retired. And we need places for the young people to work and entertain themselves so they'll stay around. And we're one of the few spots that has a railroad hub. We have an outlet yard here that if anybody wanted to start a business, they could import and export it by rail.
New addition here.
I'm Heather Tupper. I am part of the Wyoming Business Council team. I'm on our regional director team, and I am based in Cheyenne.
I know you have a million questions.
Well, we can, start talking about houses. I was just gonna ask about vacant lots here, second homes, Airbnbs. That's something there's a lot of other problems, obviously, but is that one element that's holding you back from getting people to buy houses here, have families?
So this actually came up this morning, Connor. I think we have a couple of Airbnbs in the community. But we have a lot of lots that have old dilapidated houses on them that the owners don't live in the community anymore. So that's actually gonna be on the agenda for the next council meeting to kind of discuss where we're going with a couple of those type structures. But we need to open up what we have existing and then trying to identify other places in town where we could conduct those kind of activities. So I mean, it was kind of bananas around here during COVID and stuff for the turnover of a lot of the properties. There was people that were, I was still working for the city at the time, that were trying to move here to get away from the population hubs, and they were refugees from larger areas. But then that kind of slowed down, and I think some of those people kind of left. So, we've just been kind of hovering right now. But
The dilapidated, that's a really
Dilapidated
hard
house.
word.
Yeah.
The old. Are they keeping up their taxes on that?
I
Do you know?
imagine
Have
that
you-
they are.
Have you done any type of, I guess, have you done any type of a analysis of what lots are available and how many homes there are and what that looks like, for future growth?
No, when I was still on the council, before I was elected mayor, that was something that I really felt like we needed to do. To identify the commercial properties that are vacant or just aren't being used and the residential property. I mean, cause I don't have a really good idea about, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, one of the things that economic development is working on is the property that's shovel-ready and what's available on the properties that are available. And we're actually going to be setting up a kind of like a meet and greet with all the realtors. So we could probably get that information when we do have that date set up, we can get the council invited. But I think knowing what is available and what's on that land, is it shovel ready, are the utilities already there, things to that factor is part of us building our blueprint for those businesses that may be looking to relocate. So that's one of the things that that economic development is working on, but we could also work on it with residential, to help with this study.
The county had a tax sale first part of the year. And there was quite a few spots on there, but they weren't all in the city, they were all spread around the county. But I don't know if they sold all of them or.
I think they're, most of them are sold, and then the other ones they're paying the taxes on. So there's other people outside of our county, or outside of our state that are paying on taxes that aren't, being paid. And so they have that 5 years, before they can take over that property. So I think that's some of the things that we're running into when it comes to broken down, old homes and businesses is, they're waiting for that 5-year span on paying those taxes. And like you said, the water is an issue, like Painted Hills, they can't do any more water taps out in their area. So, that's kind of a big struggle too.
So tell us more about the water capacity here.
Our recent water master plan we did last year, we have plenty of capacity for another 2,000 to 3,000 people. There's some lines that need to be upsized, but other than that, yeah, no, we've got plenty of water. Right now, we produce at the most around 1,500 gallons a minute each day during the summertime. We can produce up to almost 3,000 gallons a minute. So we have plenty of water. The problem with water in this area is there is no such thing as a shallow well around Newcastle. The only clean water available is the Madison Formation, and we just drilled a new well at $1 million and spent $1.4 million getting it tied into the system. So, yeah, water's critical. A lot of the districts, well, we feed, we're connected to 3 of the 4 districts that border Newcastle. 2 of the districts we actually serve. One, we're back up to them, and then Weston, they refuse to regionalize, so.
I thought at one point, Bob Bonner was working, wasn't it with the economic developments, too, Stacy, do you remember? And he proposed some reservoir, I thought, for here.
I don't recall anything with that, but I just.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was economic development or which organization he was working with, but, I mean, if you think about it, like, at the LAK, you can't take a motorized boat out there either, you know what I mean? Like, it would be nice, I mean, you used to be able to, but you can't now, so, I don't know if that's, but yeah, too bad he can't be here, because I know he was working on that several years ago. It didn't seem to go anywhere.
I think that's one of the problems that we have in our community is we have a lot of great ideas. And then it seems like they just kind of peter out and
Yeah, because I was
don't
pretty
come to
sure
fruition.
he had a location in mind and everything. It just,
Implementation is the hard part.
I mean, since I've been elected, I mean, there's been all kinds of people coming to me and they're like, oh, do you remember that project, you know, that so-and-so was working on to get, one of the things was to get some kind of a trade school or something located here in Newcastle.
and that would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be great?
I
You
mean,
know,
even
like,
if it was just like a coding school or something, you know, where you're, and the high school kids, that's how, you know, because I grew up in Midget, South Dakota, and the vocational school was located right across from the high school. So you could walk over there and get a dual credit for like construction technology, electronics. I mean, it was amazing. You got high school credit and you got college credit. But yeah, I mean, that would be huge.
I mean, citing some kind of a beautiful campus, like right here at the base of the Black Hills, the Western Gateway, you know, I mean, that would be great. There's been so many good ideas.
Spearfish just built a building by their high school that is like a tech school. They do mechanics in there, they do a couple other things. And we just talked about that at economic development, and we have a call into their school administrator to see exactly how they went about it, because depending on what grants, and right now federal grants are on hold, so we kind of want to see how they went about it. And then there is a tech school that we're working on relocating here with an industrial park, and hopefully if things go through with the person who owns the land and the investors and their attorneys, that will have that industrial park where that tech school that we're working with can come to. So, yeah, and it's already something that we're working with Brad LaCroix on and EWC, trying to figure out how we can incorporate it with the college program and the high school program for degrees and credits. So
Does the high school now have access to dual enrollment through EWC?
yes.
Yeah, we have an EWC office that operates out of the high school. I've even taken some EWC. I think I got a C in algebra though, so that was.
But isn't it more like book courses? It's not really more tech?
Yeah, it's
more book courses, I think, yeah. And then some of the EWC outreach, like the little cooking classes and stuff like that. Those are kind of fun, you know.
You can get a degree through them,
Yeah.
but it's more business and accounting and stuff like that. Back to building. City just sold 2 lots, and the family that's building the house there cannot get natural gas because the natural gas company said that they're maxed out on tap, so they have to go with propane within the city.
We're in the same boat with our lift station.
So that's something huge that's just come up, right? Is we just signed a franchise agreement with the company in August, and now we're finding out that they aren't going to allow us to have any more gas taps. I mean, there's been 2 residential homes that were denied, and there was also a large business that came in that's been denied. I mean, like, you know, hauling propane and having propane for a large business that has a lot of square footage is not great, you know, so we're really hoping that we can get something ironed out with this, so. Yeah.
And
Really
this just
disappointing.
came up, or I thought this had been an
Yeah.
issue for a while. Not here?
Not here.
Okay. I know it's an issue.
It was only about a year ago that
Okay.
we were probably one of the first ones to be denied. We've got a lift station project that we're working on, and we have to have an emergency backup generator. We asked for gas a year ago, and we were told nope.
Yeah, I think it's a regional issue, because even like this whole corner of the
Capacity.
state, they don't have the capacity.
Another thing is, they brought fiber optics in the town. Range did, what's it, 3 years ago?
No, and they worked on it for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't finish it up. Not everybody has it.
The old part of town is the area that needs them. They did plenty of rural. I mean,
Yeah.
that's out of Newcastle, and it's fabulous, but.
So you gotta love social media, right? So I get a lot of traffic on social media, instant messenger, and I just got forwarded an article by this outfit called Town Roast or something, is the name of their Facebook page. And we're number 10 in a list of 20 communities in Wyoming that aren't great for retirees to come to. So Newcastle, Wyoming, and they specifically said our infrastructure was one of the things that's holding us back. And then, things like the services, right? Like the fiber optics not getting finished. Now we got, we don't have capacity for gas. They're like, well, retirees maybe don't go to Newcastle, Wyoming, because they're a top 10 on our list. So
Can
Some of the things
ask you a
that-
question though about that? This probably going to sound like a total jerk, but is that the worst thing in the world?
no, because actually,
I mean, we've talked to plenty of communities whose retirement age is outpacing their workforce age.
Yeah.
They don't have people to work any jobs because they're so attractive to retirees who aren't coming to work.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess for you guys, is that who you want to be?
Well, part of the problem is medical. So when you do get
That was on the
to,
list.
yeah, so we have people that are maybe looking to relocate because they can't get the medical services close enough to where they want to live.
The lack of specialists was cited, not having specific care. We just have our general care kind of. That's an excellent point, because that's one of the hangups that we got, right, is we have, past councils and different ways, different schools of thought, right? So there was past mayors that wanted to brand our community as a nice, quiet retirement community. That's what they wanted to brand us as, that's the box they wanted us to fit in, right? So I think we got a lot of people in this room that don't really agree with that line of thinking and want to try something new, we want to try to revitalize our community. So that's why this pilot program seemed like a pretty huge deal, and it seemed like something that could maybe give us some ideas or maybe point us in the right direction, so that we can revitalize our community. So, Pam starting the economic development board. If any of their activities come to fruition, it's a positive thing for our community, so lots of good ideas. I bump into people when I'm out on the road. I travel the whole state for work, and I see a lot of communities that are doing things really well, and I just wonder why, given our population and the location of our community, why we can't do some of those same things, So it's frustrating. So hopefully we can come up with some good ideas.
Well, we need the younger families too, because our schools, the population of our schools is, we graduated a class of, I think it was 56 or 7, and we have 34 pre-registered for kindergarten. So, that's really affecting our schools and our community. We need these young families.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
We need the younger families too, because our schools, the population of our schools is, I mean, we graduated a class of, I think it was 56 or 7, and we have 34 pre-registered for kindergarten. So, I mean, that's really affecting our schools and our community. I mean, we need these young families.
Next 1 week, I can do this small task to work on this. That's kind of how I think about these big problems, but I would just like to hear more about why these big ideas.
No support.
So I have, I have a good, the thing is, it's hard to find people to be on boards, so there isn't a lot of support.
Yeah.
So sometimes you end up serving on a board because, well, through work, they talk about the same 3 people, right, in rural communities doing all this stuff, right? So another thing is, and it's something that we kind of rolled around, but I haven't seen it implemented yet, is we need some kind of a registry at the city office for boards, right? Because then you end up with like all these different boards that are working on all this kind of cool stuff, but then we don't really have a lot of communication with the boards. So like Pam, when she was mayor, she came up with the idea of the board committee, which I thought was great because that was one of the concerns. We have boards that we provide oversight for, and we even give them their funding, but then we just don't talk to them except for at budget time, you know? So like we need to have better communication with those boards. And then I was hearing about boards that I didn't even know existed and activities that I didn't even know were going on in our town. So just having some kind of a compendium that tells us what everybody's doing, and then maybe some contact numbers so that we can try to, that's another of those herding cats kind of things, because we just need to know what's going on so that we can either endorse it and become part of it, or we can support it, you know, like in some capacity, you know, just better communication all around.
Well, I think there's also the miscommunication that people think it's the council needs to do that or the city needs to do that, when in reality, if you want a bowling alley, you gotta find somebody who wants to open a bowling alley. So I think a lot of people are just waiting for the city or the county to do this, but they don't realize that it's not the city or the county's job to do that. I mean, if you want a bowling alley, you gotta find someone who wants to open a bowling alley. So I think, you know, you have a lot of wants in this community, but you don't have a lot of doers in the community. So I think, you know, that's why we want to have a blueprint of what this community offers to those who come here and see the potential to build it. So I think, so as for economic development, we're looking at, okay, what is already here? What can we focus on that's here? What is ready development look like? So even though we're working on what's already here and the potential that we have here and build it here, then you still have your blueprint for those who may want to come here. But I think everybody's so busy on wanting something that's not here, and we need to focus on what's here and build that up first.
Would you say part of the problem is a lack of ownership of the problem? That's kind of what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, you have just ownership of people's own pride. You know, when you talk about beautification, that, you know, we could sit there and preach it all day long, but it has to be the homeowners or the business owners' pride to beautify it. You know,
Some people don't care about what it looks like, you know, they just want to go home and chill out, and they don't want to be bothered to do the things that make our community look better.
Some of the history, let's go back. They wanted to build Ellsworth Air Force Base west of town, and they the county or officials turned it down. They wanted, that's what, 15, 20 years ago, they wanted to put in that scrap iron smelter out on the west side of the town. And the county would not, or the city, either one, would not donate money to them to finance it. So that got set someplace else. Yeah. It's just a lack of support and a lot of.
I think people need to not be afraid of change and welcome change. because change is good. I mean, the times are changing, so we need to kind of change with the times. We can still be a small town and have a lot of change.
Well, I have a question, kind of more food for thought question than seeking an answer right now question, kind of in two parts. One, how can this community then attract people who want to move here that are the doers, that want to get involved, that want to build the bowling alley? And the second part is how do you fund that? Because obviously the county and the city aren't going to be able to.
Right, we talked about this a lot, and it boils down to the infrastructure. So if we can build what we have here better, and get that pride in our community, you know, obviously you're doing everything you can on the roads and the water and the sewer lines. I mean, you've worked with Mark, you've gone down the sled. So I think taking care of what we have now, and making what we have now stronger and beautifying it, is the first step, because then you're like, wow, I like this, I want this. You know, because we are, I know a lot of people hate the phrase, the gateways to the back hills.
We really are.
But we are. I mean, look at all the people that come through here, and, you know, like.
Just need them to stop.
Right, and so those are things that we're working on. I mean, we just talked with, Ziegler, Charles Ziegler. He's a senator out of Washington DC for Barrasso, or an assistant to Barrasso. When we met with him, we talked about, you know, how can we get approval for just signage like they have on the highways, the blue signs that say, hey, exit here, there's this, and this. So, you know, I think it's great that he's gonna help us work on getting those signages at, you know, on 85 and 16 coming into town, leaving town, all those kind of things. But, you know, once you drive through, it's kind of like depressing.
Well, just like Heritage Park.
Yeah.
It was a great idea. They went after one type of funding. They didn't receive it. Get out.
Right.
They gave it up.
You can't
do that.
give
You have
up.
to keep, if you want something, you need somebody that's going to have to keep pushing it
Yeah.
to get it.
So-
That's the only way we've got almost $4 million.
So it's not dead, it's just taken, a new form.
It's just.
Yeah.
And now we need to try to support the Newcastle Veterans Memorial.
Yeah,
Yes.
but the whole, the project as a whole.
It did kind of die.
I mean, we have a lot of trails to promote here. I know when Matt Ramsey was on he was on the travel commission, he thought we should really be promoting, our motel prices are cheaper than Custer's. And he thought that would draw some of it over to here.
Because it's like Ann said, they stop here, but we need to have them stay here for a day or two.
Well,
Yeah.
And because we really are positioned beautifully, we don't have Devil's Tower right there or Mount Rushmore right there, but we're an hour from all of those things. And we're like a hub.
So one of the problems I see here, and Mike hit it on the head, was that it's too traditional here, and we need to make new traditions.
Yeah.
A lot of us sit there and we talk about, well, Custer's so busy and we don't have anybody here. Talk to the people that are in Custer, that live there. I talk to a lot of them. In the winter, they don't have anything. You know, 'cause
It's definitely.
That's
seasonal.
right.
It's a
yeah,
seasonal
it's a seasonal
town.
place. We don't have a state park. We don't have Crazy Horse in our backyard.
Right.
So we can't compare ourselves to Custer.
Well, and they have a lot of events, and we've had a lot of different events, and they dried up. They really have. We used to have a lot of downtown events, we were always.
Because
Set
those 3 people get burned
Yes.
out. So you don't have that person who's ready to take it over or take it on or give support to those 3 people that are doing it. So I think that's where you have to either step up or.
The Shine and Shine. I mean, Dick's been doing it, what, 18 years, he said?
And he can't find anybody to take it over.
Take it over.
I think Newcastle's like the relative that welcomes you And we're the one that stands there at the door and goes like this, what do you guys want?
How long are you staying? How many nights are you gonna be here?
There's a lot of,
We need to open our arms and say,
there's a
you're
lot
welcome.
of we want it, but, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Because like, that car show or the classic
Right.
summer drags that are coming up, there's so many, people that have already said, well, we can't do that. We can't handle that many people. We can't do this. We can't do that. It's like, we have to figure out a way.
That's huge, right? People, you know, I'm sure it happens in other communities, but they will tell you all the reasons that something isn't gonna work. Rather than saying, hey, like, I want to support you, let's make this work, you know? And so attitude goes a long way. It's one of the things that I think in our community, it can kind of hold us back a little bit. We need more people that, you know, want to impact positive change rather than keeping us in the same rut.
There you are.
And this summer drag thing that Pam was talking about, they came to us looking for our support. We didn't go seeking them. So we need other projects, big projects like that to come looking for us to sponsor or a place to hold them.
So, one final thought, because I know we're like way over on time now, but, we, you know, it started when Pam was the mayor, but we're continuing on it. We have the backyard park going right now, and then it's, we've authorized the Bennett Sprockets Club to help in trying to procure funding and doing a lot of the meetings and stuff, but all those guys on the Bennett Sprockets are really motivated people. They go out and dig a lot of the trail that's around our community. I mean, and they are really trying to, Jeremy Diedick's been sending me podcasts about how trails can positively impact communities, you know, like, you know, and then the types of businesses that support trail systems. So like trying to tie the trails into the community and then promote the trails to get people here, because outdoor activity is something that we can offer a lot of in our area. And so, you know, hopefully from the bike park, if we get it done, or when we get it done, when we get it done.
You're one of those.
Yeah. Well, the bike park, when we get it done, tying in with the other, the trail systems and everything could make us a blip on the map for people that like to ride. They call themselves like the dirt bike or the dirt bag bike culture. So they like to come to community, spend some time, ride trails, you know, maybe we could get some of those folks to stop in and eat and fill up their vehicle with gas and maybe lodge, so. But yeah.
Another thing we're working on, Greg's working on, is getting a charging system for electric vehicles. He's contacted Black Hills and Electric and see what they're going to do.
There was grants out there, but I don't know if they, are those gone?
They're gone right now.
Too late.
But I mean, like, we do have the petroglyphs, but those are, I mean, you have to cross private land to go to them, so they're pretty much closed off. The BLM has those closed off.
Well, and trust me, they don't want you out there.
Yeah.
No.
No, but, you know, at one point there was a proposal, I thought Bob was working with Senator Enzi to maybe have like viewfinders where you could go up and see them from a distance, but where it's, you have to cross private land.
Well, I actually got to see them.
I went
So
up there
did we.
too with the
So did
school.
we. It
That's
was
the only
wonderful.
Fires.
What are they?
It's
Right.
candy and petrol.
Okay.
Indigenous
prehistoric.
pictures.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay.
It's
They didn't even
cool.
want to show me where they were. And
No,
was
I
there-
know.
I was there,
Yeah.
my job was to protect them. I was to keep the fire from getting anywhere.
Oh, I know. They're locked up. They don't want people out there.
Well, it
But
has-
they do belong to us. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Problem
there's
is-
other communities in the state that have petroglyphs that,
you can actually go see.
yeah, that you can go to, so, I mean, I've passed the road signs, I haven't stopped in yet, but I mean, they're out there, right? Like, you
But
can
it's
see them on the
interesting,
picture.
right? Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see.
I'd love them, yeah, I'd love to see them, I didn't even, I'd heard that we had petroglyphs, but I've never seen them here.
They're amazing to go and see.
They're
Yeah.
private, I don't know.
What
Yeah.
about like the business community?
Well-
How's the chamber doing? Are they doing anything? Are they bringing the businesses together? Is anybody doing that? Are businesses talking to each other?
So it's been an interesting roller coaster ride with the chamber.
Yeah.
So, we had them almost tank and dissolve, but then like, we got them back up and running. They're under their own steam now. They have a full board. They had a fantastic, executive director, I think is what they call the position. But then she left and then another lady picked up, and she's trying really hard. She's pushing things on social media. They're trying. They're back better than they were a couple of years ago when I was on the council. Yeah, the mayor and I actually went and sat in on some of their meetings and, cause they almost tanked. So we're glad that they're still in existence, and we want them to do good, so. They're actively out trying to.
Are they,
recruit.
are they promoting for new businesses? Or are they?
I think they're trying to get like the businesses we have
Existing.
to be membership, right?
Because
Like they're
that's
trying
the
to
deal.
recruit.
I mean, years ago, I know it was fantastic. The chamber was amazing.
But they've had
We
some.
don't have the businesses that we did at that time. So, I mean, that's a given right there, that we just don't have. The businesses that are here are inundated with gimme type, you know, can you donate to this? Can you donate to that?
Well, and several of our businesses are for sale.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't have the Main Street businesses that we just did at that time. And we had a very active chamber at one time.
I think their biggest problem is they're trying to recover from the bad feelings they had.
Well, they
in the
are,
past.
but there are some hardships that they're having to deal with too.
Mhm.
And that's
It's just
common
not,
in a
it's
lot
a
of
small
communities.
town, you know, or,
Yeah.
we don't have the J.C. Penney's and we used to have, we were just counting them up the other day, and I am from here, so when I was in high school, or even way past high school, I mean, we had 3 men's store, we had 2 ladies stores, we had 2 drug stores, we had all right there on Main Street.
Yeah, but now there's Amazon.
Yeah.
That's my point, that's where I'm going with that,
Yeah.
so those closed, and now they're never gonna reopen, ever, that kind of thing. We're never gonna get a shoe store in town. You don't need it, nobody would go to it. Nobody would go, we can go to Walmart and buy a $7.99 top, whatever, instead of a $30 top at the ladies' dress store that you have to pay, because that's what.
Yeah, we've done a lot of work with our Main Street program, and Main Street's difficult, but they almost have to they have to be part of that global economy, right? So they almost need to be shipping out the back door too, right? They need to be selling to, we're all ordering online, so
Right.
to make Main Street
Exactly.
businesses work, you need to tap into more
Just
than
like
just
Decker's
foot
Food
traffic.
Center, I'm gonna use them for an example of what he's the same. They can't buy like the Walmart can, I mean, you know, so their prices are terrifically higher in Newcastle than, so when people go out of town, they shop out of town.
We have some businesses on Main Street that are actually supplementing by doing online sales, as well as having their brick and mortar.
Mhm.
So I mean, like,
Good.
hybridizing like that is probably the way of the future, you know? I think Casey, down at Seconds does some online sales or something like that. And sagebrush stuff.
Yeah.
You'll see, Main Street.
Time's up.
We needed an ACDC
No,
break,
no,
sorry.
That's our
We got holes. There's businesses that burn down, buildings that burn down, and they never get built back again. There's talk about another building getting torn down on Main Street. And then,
That's happening.
what's that?
The old truck.
Yeah, the dry cleaner. So, it made me, I kind of went on a rant with a friend the other day. I was like,
And it will be a parking.
what am I gonna be the mayor of if we continue to lose businesses on Main Street and we don't replace them with something viable? So,
Well, thank you guys. I know you're all busy and you need to get back, and we're going to go for a walk, I think, down Main Street, and then we're gonna look at some of the infrastructure stuff and talk to some businesses this afternoon, and not exactly sure what the next steps are, other than we're just gonna continue working with the mayor and talking about ideas and how we can help look at some of the growth, or maybe come up with some kind of planning ideas. But if anybody has questions, they're welcome to reach out to me.
If there ever any kind of like analysis you'd like to see, let us know, like projections or anything you have in mind to help you, let us know as well. Happy to do that.
We just want you to be the magic guy out there.
There's no silver
Here's
bullet,
all,
I'm afraid.
here's a whole bunch of money and just go
Yeah.
fix.
Could you imagine, wave your magic wand or something,
Yeah,
right?
I wish we had a magic money.
We want to help with the capacity that you guys have, but keep on.
To be able to, yeah, like our goal is to figure out how you can increase your revenue, so bring in jobs, increase your population, increase your room counts, right? So those businesses want to come here, right? So you have enough money to fix your infrastructure, those kind of things, so.
Handouts are good sometimes, but you know, the dependency on handouts isn't a good model.
Yeah.
It doesn't develop discipline.
Does not, no, does not.
But thank you guys for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.